Previously, on the ASU documentary, Arizona State had a tough loss in their first Big 12 game, but they rebounded in their next games against Kansas and had a huge upset against Utah. And now they are firmly in the running for the Big 12 championship, as they have 3 games against lower tier teams in the next 3 weeks. And this would be a perfect time to take control of the conference and potentially make a run to the Big 12 championship. Arizona State would play the Cincinnati Bearcats, who, despite what their record says, isn't all that great of a team, as they haven't won against an above-average team and lost to all of the good teams they've played so far. And they have a 3-3-5 defense, which is usually horrible against the run, and Scadaboo could have a huge game. But there's one thing that could hold this team back, and that's Sam Levitt's injury. In the Utah game, he had a huge hit in the ribs, and despite him coming back into that game, he probably shouldn't have. That means that Jeff Sims would have to start. And he did decent his time against Utah, but with a week for the opposing team to strategize for him, it could be hard for Sims to operate. Cincinnati starts off with the ball, and Arizona State defense forces a 3-and-out. And with ASU on offense, Sims would hand it off to backup running back Kyson Brown, and he would have a good game to get it to 1st and goal. And 2 plays later, Scadaboo would punch it in for a touchdown. On the other end, Cincinnati's deep pass was intercepted by Keith Abney. But just the very next play, this happens.
Scadaboo, again, that first wave can't bring him down. He lost the ball. It's still rolling free. And it's Cincinnati who comes away with it.
Cam Scadaboo, who rarely fumbles, coughs it up and gives Cincinnati great field position. And Cincinnati's quarterback would keep it on a speed option play and dive into the end zone for a touchdown. On offense, Arizona State would find themselves in a 4th down hole, and Sims would throw Scadaboo a swing pass, and he would be bottled up, and it would be a turnover on downs. And despite the good field position, Cincinnati couldn't get a good drive going and settles for a field goal. But Sims couldn't get anything together on offense, as he takes a huge loss of yards on 3rd down and they have to punt. And Cincinnati hands it off to the running back, and
he'll be the lead blocker for Evan Pryor, and the home run hitter trying to deliver the boom, and there he goes, 55 yards, touchdown.
He goes 55 yards and breezes by the entire defense for a touchdown. Both teams trade punts, and after a Jordan Tyson catch, they find themselves at 4th down and 1. They hand it off to Scadaboo, and he's stopped for a turnover on downs. After a horrible play on defense, Cincinnati's quarterback punches it in for a touchdown.
Arizona State finds themselves down 24-7 at halftime, a bad showing for this team. The defense is having a tough time keeping up with the speedy Cincinnati offense, and the Cincinnati defense has strategized around Scadaboo, and he can't get much going. And Jeff Sims can't get the passing game going either. All of this adds up to the fact that they're down 24-7 at halftime, and after both teams trade punts, Sims and the offense finally gets something going together, and they find themselves on 1st and goal. Scadaboo gets the ball, and
Scadaboo is the running back, and he is immediately met in the backfield, runs through the contact, and then throws a shoulder for good measure.
Scadaboo has an angry run, as he should have been tackled behind the line, but he breaks 2 tackles before ramming through the last defender for a mean touchdown. And after a defensive stop, Sims throws a deep ball to Tyson, and he makes the contested catch. But they settle for a field goal and miss. And with just under 2 minutes left, it is almost impossible to score 10 points, and they couldn't do that as they missed another field goal and they would lose on the road. And after a huge win against Utah, this team would have a huge negative light from the media, especially after Kenny Dillingham bashed on the kicking game and announced that they would have open tryouts for that position. This team would go under the radar once again, and this team would be an afterthought by the national media. But we still had hope, as they still had a shot at the Big 12 championship, but they would have to win every single remaining game on the schedule, and that is very hard to do. But with that being said, the bye week came at the right time, as Levitt is now healthy and just in time to play Oklahoma State. They had high expectations coming into the season, especially after returning star running back Ollie Gordon. But the team has not been very good as of late, losing 5 straight games and Gordon not playing nearly as well as the last season. That being said, this is still no easy game for Arizona State going into Stillwater, Oklahoma, a very hostile environment with the fans right next to the Arizona State sideline.
ASU would start off with the ball, and they would have a good drive mainly because of a huge Scattaboo run. And to finish it off, Levitt would throw to Tyson for an easy touchdown. The defense would force Oklahoma State to punt, and ASU has a good drive again, but they settle for a field goal and miss it for the 3rd time in a row. But the defense made up for it as 2023 transfer cornerback Javon Robinson caught this interception to give the offense the ball back. The ASU would have to punt, and a bad play by the defense allowed Oklahoma State to get within 4 yards of the end zone. And after 3 defensive stands, they just barely allow a touchdown, as they can't hold them on 4th down as Oklahoma State punches it in and ties the game. The Arizona State offense finds them in a 3rd and long, and Levitt, coming off the injury, breaks 3 tackles behind the line of scrimmage, before finally going down after a gain of 7. But that is not enough for the 1st down. On 4th and 1, they go for it. And
4th and 1, Scattaboo's wide open. They've got it, and much, much more. Foot race, Scattaboo scores!
Scattaboo gets open and has a huge 50-yard catch and run for a touchdown. The defense doesn't hold up though, as they allow Oklahoma State to drive downfield, and Ollie Gordon runs it up the middle for a touchdown. Arizona State would have 5 minutes left on the clock, and they would have a huge gain due to a catch by former Texas and USC wide receiver Jake Smith, and proceeded to chew up the rest of the clock before Scattaboo punched it in to end the half.
ASU had to wait a little bit before they could resume playing due to a rain delay, but after a few hours of waiting, they came out firing.
Second explosive pass play that's gone to Scattaboo. This is Brown shaking and plowing in for a touchdown. And Scattaboo out of the backfield again. He goes over 100 yards receiving, and he's got another touchdown. On the edge of the red zone, it's Scattaboo. Might get all 18 right here. Scattaboo thunders ahead, and he is just short. With the call standing, it's 3rd down and goal for Arizona State. Right back to Brown, and this time there's no doubt. He's in for his 2nd touchdown of the day, Kyson Brown.
ASU and Cam Scattaboo would put on a show as Scattaboo dominated for 274 all-purpose yards and 3 scores. Levitt would have a great game also as he passed for 300 yards and 3 scores in his return from injury, and Arizona State would clinch a bowl game. But they were looking for more, a Big 12 championship appearance. They would play UCF, who has not been very good this season, being 4-5 and rotating through a bunch of quarterbacks, none of them being very good. But Cam Scattaboo would be out this game due to a shoulder injury that he sustained in the 4th quarter of the Oklahoma State game, and that would sideline him for this game. So it was up to Levitt and Tyson to carry this offense to victory.
It didn't look great for Arizona State as the UCF offense went downfield and their star running back RJ Harvey punched it in for a touchdown. Arizona State would turn it over on downs, but the defense forced UCF to punt.
Sun Devils come after it. It's blocked. Scooped up. Down the sideline. Touchdown, Arizona State.
UCF's punt was blocked by ASU and got returned for a touchdown, tying the game. UCF would get the ball back, and after this contested catch, they settled for a field goal. ASU would have to punt after Levitt took a big sack, and UCF would go downfield before putting in their mobile quarterback to run it into the end zone on a design run for a touchdown. But ASU answers right back with a drive of their own that ended in Levitt throwing to Mateer for a touchdown. And on the kickoff return, the return man bobbled it and can't go anywhere and is brought down at the 1-yard line. And on this very next play,
Throwing it. And picked off! Welch, touchdown! Disaster for UCF!
UCF quarterback throws it straight into the hands of 2023 transfer defensive back LT Welch for a pick six. And that puts us up 21-17 at halftime. And despite the fact that it seems like UCF has been the better team, ASU has the lead. And all they need to do is hold on to this lead for only 2 more quarters.
Coming out of the half, both teams trade punts, and UCF goes downfield due to the strong running game with RJ Harvey, and they score a touchdown. ASU gets the ball, and they have it in 3rd and long, and Levitt heaves it up.
He threw it up. Go up and go get it, young man. What a catch.
Jordan Tyson makes an amazing catch to extend the drive, and they get it to 1st and goal, and Levitt throws a fade to Tyson, and he caught it for a touchdown. But UCF has a huge gain due to a flea flicker, and RJ Harvey runs it in for a touchdown. ASU has to punt, and UCF has another good drive, but settles for a field goal that misses, and down by 4, Levitt in the offense slowly but surely drives downfield, taking up a ton of clock, before Levitt throws it to Tyson for a touchdown, taking the lead. However, there is still plenty of time for this UCF team to go on a game-winning drive, and this defense just needs to hold on. After getting 7 yards on 1st down, ASU gets a huge sack to force 3rd and long. They get a complete pass for 9 yards that makes it 4th and 2, 1 stop, and ASU wins. A conversion continues this drive. They give it to Harvey, and he gets stopped before the 1st down. The defense that has been beat by Harvey the whole game stops him in the most critical part of the game, and ASU would run the rest of the clock out and win this game.
ASU had a very good 7-2 start to the season, but they haven't won against a good team, as Utah would really start to struggle, and they hadn't won a game since before ASU. They would face their biggest test yet. They traveled to Manhattan, Kansas to play the Kansas State Wildcats. And almost everybody had them winning this game, especially Desmond Howard from College Game Day, who said this during his pick selection of the game.
Big 12, Arizona State, Kansas State still in the mix. They need a little help to get to the Big 12 title game.
I saw that on the rundown. I was like, why are we picking this game? I thought it was a mistake.
That might be the first one of those this season.
Yeah, I mean, but this Kansas State, I guess. Let's go Kansas State.
He said that they shouldn't even have picked this game because it was so obvious that ASU would get destroyed. But he couldn't have been more wrong.
Coming off a bye week, K-State had a really difficult loss last time they played. Johnson throwing the ball, and it's tipped up and intercepted on the deflection. What a pick! And he was taking charge of this program. Pressure coming and picked up toward the corner. Touchdown! That's Jordan Tyson. And Arizona State gets the interception and turns it into 6. Tight end in motion. A little fake pitch. Levitt looking middle. Throws. End zone. And what a catch! Tyson! Touchdown! And I think he got that foot down. 10-17 to go until halftime. Levitt will throw short to the tight end. There he goes! Touchdown, Sun Devils! Mateer, 16 yards, and it's 20-0. Levitt in the pocket, hit as he throws, and he delivers. Tyson, the defender, fell down. There goes Tyson with a block into K-State territory, all the way down inside the 35.
ASU would go out to a 24-0 lead. And despite Kansas beating us in the second half, it wasn't enough as Arizona State cruised to a 24-14 statement victory against Kansas State. But they would have 2 more games, one against their rival and one against the toughest team they would face so far. Win both and you're into the Big 12 championship. Lose one and you're out. So stay tuned for the next episode to find out what happens.